Hey guys, how's it going? It's Sam. So as you guys probably know, I've been following Twice since they debuted. So today I want to go through 3 close calls I've had, almost not seeing Twice, and each of these 3 stories has a different lesson. So this video is going to be mainly just me talking, but hopefully I can throw in some clips of those days, give you guys some context. So the first time might actually be the closest cut I've ever had, all the way back in 2015, before I ever went to a music show, and just a little bit after my first 2 fan signs. Twice was scheduled to perform at the SBS Gayo, called like SBS Festival thing that happened in the COEX Mall. And actually I didn't know this was even happening. I wasn't too updated on Twitter and all that stuff. But I don't know what website it was, but I stumbled across a thing that said Twice is going to be performing at the COEX, like during the day, during that specific day. I woke up, I was staying at a friend's place in Seoul for the weekend. So I woke up in my friend's apartment and I just, Googling stuff, and somehow I came across an article or something, or a tweet, I don't even remember, that said Twice was going to be at the COEX, like around noontime or whatever time it was. I don't even remember the time. So I asked my friend, how far is the COEX from here? And apparently it was only like 3 stations away. I was staying at Gangnam Station, and COEX, if you guys have been to COEX, it's at Samsung Station in Seoul, which is like I think 2 or 3 stops away from Gangnam Station on the Green Line. And if I remember correctly, when I checked the time, it was like an hour before Twice was scheduled to be there. And the time slot was only 2 groups. It was only Twice and a group called Coco Sori. So I got dressed really quickly and then took the train and got to COEX. When I got there was already a pretty sizable crowd. So for context, Twice wasn't that popular during OOH-AHH, but they're a JYP girl group. They had 16, so they were still relatively popular. And the festival area, I believe, was free, so anyone who just walked in, wanted to see some idols, or just want to see what was going on, stood in the crowd. So where I was in the crowd, I could not see, I couldn't see anything really. But luckily, I actually came late because they taped off a section and you can't stand, because you'll be obstructing traffic or whatever. So I was standing kind of behind that line. And then I waited there for a couple minutes, and the security came, and they're like, you can't stand here, but they actually had extra spots inside seated area. And I believe that's where the press was sitting, and maybe some press people didn't show up, maybe they made too much space for them, but they let 20 people who were standing behind that line go sit in, which in retrospect was kind of weird because we were there late, so we would have the least priority of getting the seats, but instead they gave us the most priority, brought 20 of us over, and we sat in the seats inside, like in front of all the people who were standing and waiting. So I don't know if that was press or if that was people who paid for tickets, or I don't know how that worked, but everyone in front of me had big cameras. Again, back then I was super naive, didn't really know about fan sites or anything, so they could have been fan sites for all I knew. But yeah, they performed 2 songs. They performed OOH-AHH and then Do It Again. It was my first time seeing them perform OOH-AHH up close, and just doing an actual stage performance actually, because when I saw them perform at the fan sign, it was an acapella for fun performance, and not a full-on with music and fan chants. And the fan chants were pretty loud. I've never actually heard fan chants live before, only on the Inkigayo broadcast music shows. You can hear them a little bit in the back. But yeah, I was really impressed. That was my first time officially seeing them perform. But yeah, maybe if I was 5 minutes earlier, I would have gotten in front of the tape area, or maybe if I came a minute later, the guard wouldn't have called me, he would have called 20 other people. But yeah, that was some crazy close call. And so the lesson from this is to always check social media, always be aware of when Twice is performing, because you never know when you'll be nearby, you never know when there's a free event, so always be alert. So that was my first close call. The remaining 2 are actually both during Signal. So for context, during the Signal promotions, I was actually living in Korea for the whole summer. I had a summer internship. I was working basically for 3 months in Korea. So one day, on a Saturday, I was just working at the office. So usually in Korea, I always bring a candy bong with me and an album just in case, because you'll never know when they're gonna have surprise broadcast or surprise event or something, and you can just bring a candy bong and go. But I remember that this day specifically, I didn't bring my candy bong because I knew they were having the KB Bank event and I couldn't get a ticket. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to work, I'll look at photos, look at Fancams, whatever. Don't need to bring this candy bong with me. But then one of my friends messaged me on Twitter and he was like, hey, I can get tickets to this event. Do you wanna come? And I looked at the clock and it was pretty close to the time, because I remember the event was at a university and I checked the distance and it was pretty far from my office. And I only had a couple hours, 2-3 hours to go. But of course I wanted to go. So I was ready to pack up my bags and just book it. But I realized I didn't bring my candy bong. So my apartment wasn't too far from work, but it was a 20-minute walk maybe. I could have gotten to the show without the candy bong, but I really wanted to be cheering and having the light on for Twice. So I had to actually get up from work with my backpack and run. So I sprinted the full, like, you know, it's probably a 1 mile. So I like sprinted 1 mile to my apartment, grabbed my candy bong, got on the train, got to the university, ran, like followed the signs, ran all the way, and met up with my friend. So in the end, we actually had quite a bit of time to wait because there was like lineup time, waiting, etc. I thought it was a pretty close call because, you know, I was running. I ran a lot that day, and it was summer in Korea, so it was very, very hot and humid. But yeah, I was able to see them at the concert, and our tickets were great. They were standing, saw them perform, and afterwards we even saw them leave. But yeah, lesson in that story, always, always, always have a candy bong with you when you're in Korea. So my last story involves someone that I met at music shows in Korea. So usually when Twice has music shows, they announce them, you know, quite a bit ahead of time. You have to click. I explained that in my other videos. But for the last broadcast for Signal, they announced the Ikigayo like pretty last minute with no like requirements or anything. So my friend Soohyun is a Korean girl that I met at music shows actually. And she, I think, is currently in Las Vegas for undergrad. And she speaks fluent English. But I met her at a music show, and she told me that she watched some of my videos. And you know, we traded cards. She helped me trade with other Korean fans. So one Sunday, you know, Ikigayo day, I was just at my apartment chilling when I got a message from Soohyun. And she was like, hey, are you going to the Ikigayo? And I just thought about it. I was like, wait, there was no notification. I thought M Countdown was our last one because previously we went together to the M Countdown, which was supposed to be their last broadcast. And I remember because they gave out double photo cards. But she said, no, they announced just now. So I checked Twitter, and she was right, they did announce it. But for some reason, I didn't get the notification. I do have push notifications on Twitter, but I guess sometimes they just don't send, or maybe my internet was bad and it didn't work. But either way, she messaged me on Kakao. And Kakao sends you like push notifications for sure. So I was like, oh, okay. And then I checked the time, and it was like less than an hour until the time we're supposed to get there. And all you needed was a candy bong. And you know, I was at my apartment, so I had my candy bong, but Ikigayo was pretty far from where I was staying. So in order to make it, I actually had to take a taxi. So first thing I did, I changed real quick, got my candy bong, ran outside, and grabbed the first taxi I saw. Booked it straight to Ikigayo, and I believe I was either the last person or one of the last people to even get in. And like within a couple minutes, couple seconds maybe even, we walked straight in and then we recorded. So the lesson here is Twitter doesn't always work, even if you're updated and everything. So the lesson here is to make friends and check your messages. So quick recap, when you're in Korea, 1, always be caught up on Twice's schedules. 2, always have your candy bong with you. And 3, try to make friends at Twice events. Of course, these are just 3 close calls that I've had. I've actually had quite a few more. And of course, there were times where I missed completely and wasn't able to see Twice at all. I hope you found this video helpful. And if you're ever in Korea, make sure to follow these words of advice. And if you have any similar stories, feel free to share them below in the comments. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.